Hey, I just sat here for over half an hour in order to wait for my air vent to stop because halfway through filming, or not even halfway, like a minute into filming, my roommate was cooking and the air vent magically turned on. But here I am. So, today I'm going to be doing a movie review on Nobody Knows, or in Japanese, Daremo Shiranai. This is a movie written and directed by one of the Japanese modern cinema greats, Kore-eda Hirokazu. And so, yeah, I am watching this movie in order to hype up for another movie that he has released in Cannes Film Festival this year, Monster Kaibutsu, which is a movie that I'm insanely excited to see because we have a very well-known screenwriter behind it, and also the score is by the late Sakamoto Ryuichi. Rest in peace. So, yeah, this is my third Kore-eda film. Last year I saw Maboroshi no Hikari, which is his debut feature film, because I wanted to hype myself up to watch Broker. It's more of a warm-up film, but Maboroshi is beautiful. It is fantastic. It is extremely slow-paced, and it is very, very obviously Ozu inspired, but overall it is a gorgeous piece of art about grief. And then afterwards, I watched Broker in the cinemas, which is fantastic because Koreeda has made a Korean film, which is very interesting. And it also stars IU as one of the lead actresses, which is really cool. But also the script is fantastic. It is also so much easier to follow, so much more straightforward and digestible than Maboroshi, like 100 times. Apparently, Broker wasn't the only thing Kore-eda has released last year in 2022. He also released a limited TV series by the name of Cooking for the Maiko House, the Makanai, which is adapted from a manga of the same name, I believe. So Kore-eda does not stop. Merely a year later, and he's already come out with a new film. The guy just keeps pumping out movies. So anyways, Nobody Knows, Daremo Shiranai. Back to this movie. I'm watching this to warm myself up to watch Monster, but also because Kore-eda has been someone whom I've heard nothing but great things about. There are so many other films that I'm dying to watch from him, like Afterlife and Still Walking and Shoplifters. I haven't seen that actually. But anyways, Nobody Knows is a 2.5 hour long movie about a bunch of kids essentially being abandoned by their moms, stuck in an apartment, fending to live by themselves. And yeah, this movie is, first of all, a slow burn. I don't think it is nearly as slow as Maboroshi. Maboroshi no Hikari is just very, very paper thin plot, and every shot is basically like a painting. This one is also a slow burn, and yeah, it's not for the average moviegoers at all, but I feel like the movie only benefits itself by being a slow burn. And again, Kore-eda Hirokazu is like the more modern, updated version of Ozu, who is one of the most important filmmakers ever. And just like Ozu, he revels in simplicity. He uses simplicity to tell stories. He's very subtle. He's very gentle with the way he directs. There are no camera movements in this movie, I think. Even if there are, I probably didn't notice it. But most of the shots are still shots. Most of the shots are really simple, nothing all that fancy or anything. And it really, really takes its time. But because of that, you really get to grow up with these children, which is really important. Another thing I really like about this film is that it doesn't reveal anything, like the situation the kids are in, why, what's the mom's doing. You don't really know right off the bat, and you sort of find out along the way this movie presents itself. You sort of find out what roles do these kids have, and the main character, who is played by Yagira Yuya, Akira, why is he pretending to be like that? What does he think now? We never know until like we find out ourselves, which is really good. And the way Koreeda deals with children in his films is very particular because he really knows how to put the viewer's mindset into the children's POV, because the camera positions are almost always in the kid's eye level instead of the adult eye level. So there are a lot of shots where we look at adults, but we look at their feet only, because we feel so helpless, we feel so tiny. And speaking of which, the child performances are all fantastic. Again, the aforementioned Yagira Yuya, who actually won Best Actor in Cannes Film Festival in 2004. And that is huge because he's the first Japanese actor to win Best Actor at Cannes, apparently. And he was just a child, and it's literally one of the best child performances I've ever seen, ever. To the point where I think that, like, Kore-eda might have lied to those kids and told them that their moms are actually never coming back, and because their reactions are so genuine. And not only him, but literally all the other kids in this movie, they all did an insanely great job. It's unbelievable. I don't even think they're acting, like they're for real going through this. I think, how did they even film this? When I watched this film, because a lot of the shots and a lot of the scenes feel so improvised, and I feel like for those kids, it wouldn't be a great environment if there's like a whole crew of 30 people in that apartment with like lights and flags and everything. I feel like a bulk of the film is just Kore-eda holding a small film camera and just filming the kids. Just, oh, do that thing, do that thing. I don't really know how they filmed this, and that's really intriguing. But also, this movie is insanely heartbreaking, especially for the ending, which I totally didn't expect Kore-eda would go, but they actually went there. And yeah, I'm like, no way he's doing this. No way he's writing this ending. This is not a real ending. No. And then it actually happened, and I'm like, you've got to be serious. It's incredibly heartbreaking. It's very emotionally taxing. And it's just one of those movies that after the movie ends, I just sit there and I'm like, fuck. Why? And what's very heartbreaking is that it's based on a real story. It actually happened. And it just goes to show how evil and messed up you have to be. How absolutely irresponsible you have to be to abandon your own children. Like, even if you're not financially stable, they're human beings. They can't fend for themselves to live. And on top of that, this movie makes a great example of how the people around them are so cold-blooded, and they're not cold-blooded in a cartoonish way, like, yeah, I don't care. But it's small details, like near the ending of the movie when Akira and his friend bought like 30 packs of chocolate biscuits, and the cashier was like, oh, you're going to a picnic? Must be fun, without knowing that, something huge has happened. And there are people who actually know, like one of the neighbors walked past the apartment. Someone's calling me. Right, I will not let myself be interrupted again. But yeah, these people are not cold-blooded in a cartoonish way. They are cold-blooded, but they're just living the way they are. One of the neighbors walked past the apartment and see children very dirty. They haven't bathed. They're not properly fed. They're malnourished. And she just walks away and was like, okay, and just goes on about her life. And they're not bad people. They just want to care about their own lives. And this movie really shows that. And there are people who are legitimately good, like another another staff working at their local convenience store who legit knows that there's a problem and tried to help the Akira and the other kids. But at the end of the day, it's up to the kids to call the cops, And that's the thing. They never called the police. I don't know why. And I think it's because, like Akira said himself, if he calls the police, there's a chance that they may break up. But the thing is, if he doesn't call the police, they won't get any help at all. If they don't call the police or the child welfare or child care hotline, whatever, they won't get any help at all. But that's also the thing. They are kids. They don't know that the best solution is to call the police because they're not old enough and they're not grown enough to know how the society works and what's better for them and what's not better for them. At the end of the day, they're just kids. And see them all suffer without any help is just so freaking emotionally frustrating. So yeah, I didn't expect this movie to make me this sad, but yeah. In a lot of ways, this movie reminds me of After Sun. This is like the opposite of After Sun. After Sun is about learning to treasure your time with your parents. This movie is about learning to treasure your own children, if you do have children, that is. So yeah, obviously, this is a beautiful, beautiful film, really well shot, and very unforgettable. I'm feeling a strong 9 for this movie. So have you watched Nobody Knows? Comments below, let me know. Subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.